Hi guys, so today we are going to be looking at sourcing data, and we're going to be looking at using the Seaborn's data repository. Now, these data repositories are, hosted on a site or in a remote location or a remote site basically, and you can access these data points or these data sets rather. So I'm going to do a walkthrough on how you can do that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to import packages. Now we're going to be importing three packages. The first is we're going to be importing the pandas data analytical or data analysis and manipulation library. So that's pandas as PD, and that's the alias obviously. And we're going to import I'm going to import matplotlib. Matplotlib is a data visualization library or package, and I'm importing it because Seaborn typically, uses some of the matplotlib wrappers. So this is it, right? So that's and I'm going to give it an alias as PLT, and then the main guy, which is Seaborn, and I'll give it an alias SNS. So these are the three packages we're going to be using. Now, I think it's also important for us to head over to the Seaborn site. Now, here's the Seaborn site, pretty intuitive. I'm going to go over to APIs, right? So I'll click the APIs, and at the bottom, we're going to see utility functions here. Now, there are two things here. There is the load data set, and there's the get data set names. So I'm going to work with this first, the get data set names. Now this also doubles as using documentation to do your thing, and it's a best practice. Over here, you can see pretty simple, seaborn.getDataset names. Right, now I'm just going to copy this. I'll copy this and I'll come back to my notebook. Now in this cell, I'm going to have this over here. Of course, you see that Seaborn already has a nickname or an alias, so I'll change this. So I'll have this as SNS. Now what this is going to do is it's going to get all the data set names, right? So if I run this, now you see we have the different data sets that are in the Seaborn repository, right? Now you can see all of them. Now the next is, how do we make use of these data sets? Now the next thing I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go back to the load data set. So you see it says load an example data set from the online repository. There's internet is required. Now I take this and I open this in a new tab. Now we're going to see a documentation of how we load the data set. So of course it's going to be Seaborn, then the load data set method, and of course it has parameters that we could use. They're optional parameters too, right? They're parameters we can use, and some of them are optional. So again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this. I'm not going to use all the parameters, and I'm going to come back here. And so over here, I will have this over here. Of course, I'll change this to SNS. So now I have to use one of these. So let's use something really popular. So we can use the Titanic data set. And so I'll replace name with this. Now that's already Titanic. Then cache is true. If I come over here for the load, you see that cache means if true, try to load from the local cache first and save to the cache if a download is required. So we might just leave it over there, but if we don't, I mean, it's still good. And so let's just remove this. I don't think we need this. So we just have this too. Now we just can't just load this. We typically want to put it in a variable, right? So I'll put here, I'll call this, I'll just put space here, and I'll call this data underscore Titanic. So this is going to be our variable that will hold our pandas data frame. right? So now we have all this. So I'll run this, and you see this is already successful. So if I come over here, and so by the way, I have to put this over here and say, so this is our pandas data frame, pandas data frame. So over here, I'll put data underscore Titanic, which is this. Then I use the head method. So I just get the first, say 10 rows, and boom, this is what we have. Now, if you follow all these steps that I just walked through, you can get the dataset names, and then you can see the datasets, the names of the datasets, and you could choose, right? And there's a luxury of data points to use or datasets to use. Next is we'll load it up into a data frame, but we do this by using the load dataset method from Seaborn, right? And then we have the data frame already. All right, so take your time and watch this so you get a sense of it and get an option for sourcing data for learning or any data activity you're doing. Remember, like, subscribe, and share.